Gabrielle Reyes is known as the singing vegan chef.
Cocoa peanut butter ball. Cocoa peanut butter ball.
Although she has built a community of millions and gained national attention for her unique platform.
As TikTok chef Gabrielle Reyes is back to share with us one of her musical meals today.
Watching her, I knew there was something deeper going on.
Rediscovering my love of singing actually helped me rediscover my love of God. I think the people who are teaching, laying down your life and be selfless, whatnot, I'm gonna be real with you, it's their own selfishness is twisting it.
If you love conversations around spirituality and being lit up as a creator, this is for you. That is, if you don't mind being challenged just a little bit.
This is a hot take. I'm about to say something that might be controversial. It all started from my father. He definitely imprinted in me a lot of the depth and a lot of the consciousness that I have to this day. I was blessed to have 17 years of my life with him. He did pass when I was 17 years old, and it was a sudden passing. And so I think with all the knowledge and beauty that I learned from him, he was such a free spirit. Let me tell you, this guy was the weirdest man and he did not care. Okay. Like cringe, the definition of cringe, he was that and he did not care. Like it was beautiful. It was something you don't see now. You don't see people being fearlessly, unapologetically themselves. And I'm so grateful that he was such a nerdy dude. Like he was literally, I don't know if you ever heard that song, White and Nerdy. He literally was a white and nerdy guy and he loved it. Like he loved it. He was half Puerto Rican. So he had a little flavor in him, but he was just so smart and so talented. And so I think growing up, seeing his joy, and even up until his passing, seeing how he chose joy through the pain, through the suffering, through my parents' separation, he still chose joy. And so I think that really imprinted on me. And then when he did pass, it was a sudden knowing of, oh my gosh, like life is not promised to us. This day is not promised to us. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. All I have is literally right now. So I think once that happened, that transformed me a lot. It definitely made me reevaluate what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to go with my career. And in that moment, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to care what people think or what's the right way to go about doing things. I'm not going to care if other people are behaving a certain kind of way. If everybody's drinking and going to the parties, I don't need to do that. I was never a party girl. I was never getting turned in high school or even in college, really, until my senior year. We turned up then. But yeah, so I think I really wanted to focus my energy more so on my purpose. And I think I always knew that my purpose was to heal people in some capacity, whether it be through joy, through music, through food, through recipes, whatever it was. I think it always was because I used to be called to be a nurse or a therapist. That was originally before my father passed. And then once he passed, I decided I was going to study acting because I was like, you know what? I got one life to live. I'm going to pursue what I want to pursue, which is theater, performance, and acting. And so from that, during that time, studying acting and performance, I really got to learn about me and learn about being unapologetically Gabrielle, and that was when I also began my journey into eating healthier and just more conscious and eating plant-based. And I was able to use all of my knowledge from my childhood and stack onto it now with the knowledge that I was learning about myself, about feeling the way I'm feeling, and just experiencing all the different things that I experienced in college. So I would say that it almost feels like, it's weird because I'm 33 years old, but I feel like a child in a way. I feel like I just began this journey of consciousness. I just began this journey of self-discovery. I just began this journey of giving glory to God in all that I do. And so it's been new, but it's been good. It's been fun. It's been abundant. It's just more and more and more blessings come, and the blessings are exactly what they should be. They're not anything more than I need at that moment. And that's been something very interesting to learn too, has been wanting things that I think I can handle, but then the universe saying, no, girl, you're going to take this, you're going to learn from this, you're going to grow from this, and then we're
Mm.
going to take it to the next step. And, you know,
Mm.
that's kind of been the pattern so far.
My ears always perk up when people say the word called. You said I was called when I was younger to be a nurse or a therapist, and then you switch gears into going into the arts. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what do you think about calling and kind of, us people who think overly deep about everything? I'm raising my hand right here. I always think about, what is the intention of my life? Why was I placed on this earth? And sometimes I get really caught up in like the specifics of that. Like, you're supposed to be a this or you're supposed to be a that, as opposed to like just the fluidity of it all and the different expressions and different seasons. Did you really believe you were called to those professions and it's changed, or how do you conceptualize that now?
Yeah, I think honestly, I was given a set of skills. I've always been able to sing ever since I was a kid. And I remember being in church and being like, this is my calling. Like at first it was a singer. It's constantly adapting because an artist adapts. And as beings, as human beings, we are inherently artists. We are inherently creators. So inherently we will adapt. But I do remember sitting there listening to Shackles. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I don't know if you ever heard the song, but that.
I just want to pray.
So, exactly. I just want to pray. Yeah, that's a good song. It's still hit today. But I remember my church did like a performance with puppets and I was blown away. I had to be like 8 years old, but I could sing. I could sing at that age. And I remember being like, I'm going to use my voice to give glory to God. And I didn't understand God at the moment. When you're a kid, I don't think you really comprehend prayer or God or spirituality or anything like that, or Jesus. What you don't really understand it. You just know, at least I just knew I was given this gift here, my vocal cords, and I was to use it for good, for the fruit of the spirit, for love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. Ultimately, that's what I knew, but I didn't know just yet as a kid. So then I think honestly, my journey kind of shifted. I did study acting and performance in high school and junior high school. So I started to kind of know that I was good at it. And it felt like every time I was validated for my talent, for my skill, it felt like, okay, like I am good at this. I should keep doing this. This is my calling, and so then it shifted more into being an actor. And so it went from singer to actor. And then once I started to rediscover my love of singing, because in full transparency, I went to a school where there was a musical theater program and there was a theater program, and I didn't get accepted into the musical theater program. I'm over here thinking, dang, I guess I can't sing, like that kind of tear down my ego in a way. But it needed to happen, to be honest. Now looking back, it needed to happen, and I didn't need to be in a specific musical theater program. But once that shifted, my calling felt like, okay, I'm meant to tell stories, I'm meant to be a storyteller in some capacity. And then around my senior year, I started to sing again. I started to get a voice teacher, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're so talented at this. You're really good at this. You should be doing this. And so I then again began the calling to sing. And then I would say in like 2016, that's when things shifted again. To be honest, is when I met my husband, and he was struggling with his health. He had horrible gut. He actually went to the hospital like 2 weeks before I met him because he couldn't use the toilet. And he had also had like food poisoning multiple times. I was just watching him suffer in like the first month of us knowing each other. And at this point, I'd been plant-based for like maybe 6 years. And I was like, hey man, like, here's some food. You want to eat some vegetables, And he started eating it, and it was seasoned well. It was flavorful. And he was like, yo, you're really good at this. Like, you know how to make good food. And then I started being like, okay, well, maybe that's my calling, to make food. Yeah. And simultaneously, I was still singing. I was still acting. I was still performing. So it became like, okay, I'm helping my best friend and husband, soon to be husband, heal, while I'm also using my voice. And so it just kind of happened. Like it literally just like collided one day in a random live stream video, and I just started singing about cocoa peanut butter ball, cocoa peanut butter ball, cocoa peanut butter ball. And I was just feeling myself. And people loved it. They thought it was so cute and fun. And I was like, oh snap. You saw I closed my eyes. Like that's how I'm connecting to God. Like I'm connecting to the universe. God, the universe is telling me where I should go with my notes. I'm not planning it. I'm not thinking about it. All I know is to listen and connect to source. And that's what I realized singing and being free with my voice really is. It's listening, fully listening and trusting. And so rediscovering my love of singing actually helped me rediscover my love of God and the universe. I use them simultaneously. I know that's a problem for some people, but I believe it's all the same, you know, and that universe and that God is so good to bless us with these gifts and this mind and all the skills that we have. And so I think whenever I sing, that's how I know. And that's how it started, right? As a child in church singing, and full circle, we transform, we change. And now here we are back to singing. And now that's what I do full time is singing. Really, you know, get paid to sing for different recipes, different jingles, performances. And now we've been blessed to put out two albums, I think. Yeah, we have 2 full albums. My husband got like 11 other songs out. So it's been really cool. It's been honestly a blessing just to like rediscover my gifts and continuously pour those gifts back into the universe. And it doesn't even feel like I should get paid for it. Honestly, it feels like I should just be giving it because I'm having fun. I hope, you know, the people watching it are having fun. I hope some of the words speak to people and actually like they actually hear them and believe them, because, you know, there's so much power in positive words opposed to like, you know, some of the music that's out there ain't that positive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a bop. We vibing, we twerking to it, right? But what is it telling us to do? You know, even this new song that came out, Anxiety, you know, I was just like, ooh, like, I don't even like hearing it. I don't even like, yes, we should give attention to our true feelings, but I got anxiety stuck in my head. Like, I don't want to be thinking about anxiety always when I pop on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So nothing wrong with that artist. God bless her for putting out her truth and her honesty. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I believe that my spirit and my soul was called to create music about the fruit of the spirit, about abundance, about gratitude, about blessings, about being alive. Because what's anxiety? There is no anxiety if you give gratitude for the very breath that you are experiencing in this moment. You cannot experience anxiety if you are experiencing gratitude for sight, for taste, for feeling, for the fact that our brain can connect to our fingers, can connect to our mouth. That's wild. Like that is constantly happening. And I'm not even thinking about it. It's just happening because I'm alive, because I've been blessed with the gift of life. And so to me, that's just what's always pulsing through me and I think I wouldn't have understood that so in depth if I didn't experience like the sudden loss of my father. Honestly, I wouldn't have a concept of gratitude. And that not being said that everyone needs to experience something traumatic to experience gratitude, but it definitely catapulted the understanding very quickly. And it made me want to inspire other people to experience gratitude for breath without experiencing trauma, but instead just experiencing the gratitude of it, you know? And so I meet people all the time. It's so awesome. I meet such joyous people all the time that are living in that gratitude. And luckily they didn't experience, you know, any trauma. They just understand. And, you know, maybe their parents instilled it in them, or maybe, you know, a friend instilled it in them, or maybe they went to some kind of meeting. There's so many different ways that you can discover gratitude and discover abundance and appreciation. So that's kind of like my journey now is really, yes, it's about the food. Yes, it's about the music. Yes, it's about the joy, but really the core of it, the thesis statement is that everything I create is to help people understand and appreciate the blessing of breath and the gift of existence as itself.
Damn. I don't even know where to start with you. I need about 5 hours with you on this podcast, Lord Jesus. So let's put
Right?
a
I could
pin.
talk.
No, man, this is the real stuff. This is the thing underneath the thing. You know, I want to put a pin on just kind of transmitting from like hard experience into a connection with God, because sometimes our default is to go into bitterness and anger as opposed to what you're talking about, gratitude. Now, I want to get back to that, but I don't think we'll resurface when we head down that road. But I want to before then ask you real quick. I got an email the other day, and it's someone who said that they really just were so drawn to communication and wanting to be on camera and have the spotlight and so forth. But they said, but that's the selfish side of me. I know that I was put here, you know, to serve or whatever. And I didn't tell you this before. A lot of the people who listen to this show and I attract in my life, because it's my story too, come from kind of a unhealthy side relationship to ministry. And so there's a lot of deconstruction going there. And, you know, we were taught a lot about service and a lot about laying down your life and a lot about being small so he can be big and all this stuff. But also the folks who listen to the show, we're all communicators, and we've been given the gift of being out front, you know, but also there's kind of a side that we have to fight a lot, saying like, is this selfish? Is this my ego? Like, what's this desire to be in front of camera and get attention and so forth? And so a lot of times we stuff down those natural gifts because it's been kind of taught to us that if that's not holy or whatever. So you said earlier, you know, that you felt like God, so you said something along the lines of like God giving you these gifts of singing and being in front of camera, and it seems like you're unapologetic in that. And if you could just help us reframe a little bit, like the selfish side of being on camera and getting attention and, you know, understanding that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful you asked me this, because this is a hot take. I'm about to say something that might be controversial, but I believe I am a God. I believe you are a God. I believe we are all gods. And I think that's what makes God so good, is the fact that God is in all of us. And it's not like a piece of God. No. We are all gods of our own reality. We are all gods of our current present moment. We are God. Like I fully believe that. You know, people who come from a Christian or maybe like a Muslim faith might fight me on that. I just don't care, because at the end of the day, I've seen God in me. I've seen God in thousands of other people. I see God in my husband. I see God in my mother-in-law every day. My mother-in-law is the most wonderful. I see God in so many people. I see God in the plants. The plants are a God. Okay. The animals are a God. We are all gods. And so we cannot be selfish. There is no selfishness.
Wow.
The people who are
I've never heard anyone say that.
I think the people who are teaching about, you know, laying down your life and be selfless and whatnot, I'm gonna be real with you. I think it's their own selfishness that is twisting it to try to focus that selflessness onto them, right? And that's the problem so many people get into when they go into religion or organized, you know, ministry of any kind. And it's something I've always struggled with, is who is this dude talking down to me? Like, what's your credentials? Who said that you know what you're talking about? I don't really trust everything you're saying. Sometimes the things you're saying don't really align with me. And so that's why I too stepped away from church. I don't go to church, but I worship God every day and all day.
Same.
And I give praise to God, you know, in everything that I do, truly. And I think it's because I live as though I am God, and I live through the fruit of the Spirit. I think at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from at least the Christian faith, because the beautiful thing is this concept can be found in all faiths. It doesn't matter if you go to Buddha, it doesn't matter if Judaism, if you go to an Amazonian religion. At the end of the day, the core of thousands of different religions are the fruit of the Spirit. They have different names for them, but it is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, because there are no laws about these things. You truly cannot make people not love. You can't make people not experience joy or peace, patience. You can try to take away their home, take away their freedom, but they can still experience it here, and that is God. The fact that you can experience love, the fact that you can experience joy, that itself is God. Breath is God. Eyesight is God. Our essence, our very essence is God. So we cannot be selfish, because everything we're doing is through God. Everything you're doing. And that's why some people, you see them acting some kind of way and you're like, dang, that's a different kind of God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my God. That's not the God I worship. I say that all the time. I'm like, well, that's not my God.
Yeah.
I worship a different God. I follow a different God. And my God is a God of light. My God is a God of abundance, of gratitude, of love, of joy, like of all the fruit of the Spirit, like truly at the end of the day. So yeah, I really don't ever think of my selfishness. I think I'm literally existing only to give glory to God. And that's because I'm alive. It doesn't matter if I'm good or bad that day, or if I do something wrong, or I say something mean. Everything I'm doing is through God. And I'm choosing my God. Is my God of a dark energy, of a sad, depressed energy, of a jealous, of a fearful energy? Or is my God one of light and love and hope and joy and possibilities? And I try to choose, as much as often, I try to choose the God of light, because light is powerful. Light is literally the sun. And this is what makes sense why so many people are connected to the sun, and why they call it the Son of God, right? The sun itself, just the concept of the sun is a light, right? And it feeds our earth. It gives us plants. It gives us water. It feeds everything. Literally, it creates the existence that we have. And so it just makes sense. It just makes sense to lean into the light, because light is life. Darkness, unfortunately, darkness is death. It just is. That's just how the universe, not even our world, works, but just our universe. Now, I don't have other concepts of other solar systems and quantum realms and things like that. But what I do know about our existence, our consciousness right now, is that light is life and darkness is death. And so I choose light. I choose light every time. Every time I will choose light.
I'm just saying, if you ever want to like start a church, I'll go to yours. I will listen to this all day long.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I be telling my husband that too. I'm like, yo, bro, if you were to start a church, like, you would change the world. Like, honestly, because the way he's so good. He's so good. People will be like, I don't believe in God. God isn't real. The way he helps people understand is so powerful. Like, I've watched him not convert. We're not over here converting. We're awakening. We're helping people wake up, because they don't need to be asleep. You were talking about that earlier, right?
Yeah.
The way he helps people wake up and understand that their very existence is God. Like, they try to argue it. They try to be like, no, science this, science. No, science actually proves that consciousness is God. You know, our brains are so powerful. And that's why it's such a gift to be able to even have these thoughts, to be able to even connect to God. So I hear you on the church part. I'm probably never going to start a church, but I guess my social media is my church in a way, like posting on all my 12 platforms. I think I have like over 1 million followers at this point. So that's my little church, right? And it's like, I can be a church of food, or I could be a church of music, and we can share. Recently I've been giving more glory to God, which has been interesting, seeing people, try to like fight me on it. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm free. I'm free. Like, one day you might be free too, but baby, I am free. So it don't matter what other people say at the end of the day, in some kind of way.
Let me push on that a little bit. My church is a digital space. And this is about to get super specific, y'all, but this is where my mind goes. So I'm, kind of ex-ministry life. I used to be a therapist. So I'm all like in the like heals and feels and like, what are we doing here with humanity and all that. But I went into the digital space because I love it. And I think it opens up doors for people who didn't have access. It gives voice to people. It reaches people who may not be reached. I mean, it is just such a freaking powerful, unbelievable tool that I just thank God for it. It's amazing. And also, it's so robotic, and there's not a lot of life in it. And so
Mm.
I feel like I kind of sit in between two worlds, where I have a lot of friends who are in the spiritual space, the healing space. And then I have a lot of other friends who are kind of like mini Gary V's over here, like trying to hack algorithms. And you know what I mean? And I've been trying to figure out, I feel like I was put on this earth to be a bridge. Like that's my calling, is to bridge worlds. And I'm always just thinking, like, how do we bring more life and spirit online and on these social platforms? That's why I was so excited to run across you two, because I think y'all are doing an incredible job on it. And all that to say, my question to you is, y'all are insanely faithful with the tools. Y'all are putting out stuff. You're not waiting on permission. You're creating all the time. But then also you're tapped in to, what you described as the fruits of the spirit and to source. And I don't know if this is just me, but I can literally feel an energy shift sometimes when I go into like a digital space versus like a real life space, and being very conscious of like preserving energy, protecting energy, bringing forth your energy in a place that was really not, that doesn't have spirit or life in it.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
literally AI bots. So
Mhm.
I just threw up all over you, and I don't even know where my question is with that, but I'm just curious your perception of being conscious and wanting to wake people up, but also using a tool that can sometimes suck the life out of people.
Yeah, well, for me, a practice I always do, because my full-time job is posting on social media pretty much every single day. I always
Hmm.
have a potato day once a month. And a
What's
potato
that?
day is where I don't post on nothing. I don't go on no social media. I eat whatever I want. I'm lazy.
A
I still
potato
work out
day.
because potato day. Yes, I love potato chips, so that's why it's called a potato day.
I got too many
But
potato days. I'm just thinking about one a month, Lord Jesus.
I know. Well, I had to, because I was not doing that. I was just go,
Yeah.
go, 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 go. And I felt that energy shift that you're talking about. For some people, they need it once a week.
Mhm.
I don't post anymore every day. It's more like 3 to 4 times a week. And I have potato days probably once a week at this point. But definitely when I first started out, it was like post every day on social media, grinding, da, 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 and then one day a month. But I would say, for people who want to bring life into this computerized space, the space is literally made out of zeros and ones. Like, that's
Mhm.
crazy work. My dad was also a computer science engineer, so I love seeing like technology vastly change, like through just my lifetime. Oh my gosh, I started with like, I was still around when there was a floppy disk, and I'm so
Yeah.
curious to see what they're going to come out with next. So that's really interesting. But I would say that the only true way that you can breathe life is to be unapologetically yourself. And
Mm.
me and my husband, we work with different brands that have so much potential but need help with their social media. And one of them is this amazing garden called Gratitude Garden in Loxahatchee, Florida. And it's literally like this retreat, oasis, heaven on earth, Garden of Eden vibes. Like, they're doing it right. But they just needed a little help with their social media. And one thing that I kept telling them, I was like, make it exist first and then make it good. Just
Yeah.
put it out there. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be curated. You don't have to know this, because all those fears that are building up, that's what's the robot is doing, right? That's what the technology is doing, because it's making you afraid to mess up. But the only way
Mhm.
to breathe life is to just unapologetically share. Like, for me, I found joy in just like, Twitter. There's Twitter, which is X now, but now there's Threads.
Mhm.
Utilizing those in different capacities just to say what I want to say, like one sentence, two sentence, And then maybe I feel inspired by that. Maybe people start commenting on that and say like the other day I posted something like going vegan in 2011 was the best thing I ever did for my mental and physical health. That's just a fact about my life,
Right.
and but it really engaged a lot of people into the conversation, whether it be like positive, negative, agreeing, but it was just my authentic self. And I didn't really think about it. I didn't think like, ooh, what if, because the robot, the AI, the systems in place, what they're doing is making you question yourself. And the only way you can breathe authenticity into the content you create is to just unapologetically create and just not care. And that's the hardest part, is not caring. And because I talk to my friends about this all the time who want to get into social media, want to start posting. They're like, yeah, but like people are going to say horrible things. What if they say, yeah, they're going to say mean things. They're going to be mean. It doesn't matter if you're putting out only joy, if you're on the straight and narrow, if you're doing it just right, they're going to comment. And that's just inherently how our world is. If you're putting yourself out there, people are going to have opinions about it. And it's really just about putting the blinders on and knowing your purpose and just being like, you know what? It don't matter. I'm going to just keep vibing to my own situation over here. So, but that's learning. I've had to learn that in these past 4 years, how to put those blinders on, how to, just keep going, how to authentically put myself out consistently and make it sustainable for me. So it's not like I'm getting burnt out and I'm feeling like, oh my God, only 2 people liked this. Maybe it's because I put it out fearlessly, just constantly fear, right? That fear is a huge part of why people don't go hard for their dreams, especially posting themselves on social media, because the second you put your face on social media, people are going to say something about your face. Like your face can never, they say stuff about Beyonce, right? They say stuff about Jessica Alba. They say stuff about the most beautiful people, that they're too fat, too skinny, forehead too big, eyes too close. They're always something to say. So I think it's just about constantly challenging yourself to be fearless. And one of the best ways to do that is kind of similar to what we're doing right now, is through live stream. That's such an easy way to just literally experience authentically and just see what happens. If you mess up, if you accidentally cuss, if you flash a titty, hey, you know what? It's what happened, fam. There's nothing you can do at that point. At that point, you got to keep it rolling. But it really teaches you how to speak eloquently, how to think as you're speaking, how to speak confidently, and what is your voice. I wouldn't have been able to speak so clearly to you if I didn't practice doing live streams since 2018.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I always tell people that too. If you're afraid, just go live. They're going to say something, they're going to say stuff, but you're going to learn. It's training. You got to get in the gym. You got to build those muscles, and that's just part of it, is just being uncomfortable so that you can ultimately build the most comfortable platform for yourself.
Yeah. I always tell people, you find your voice by using your voice. That is the only way to figure out what the hell you're trying to say, and the way that you show up in the world is actually doing it. But I will say it does, the basis. It's so important to have like it's like I can see it, and it's hard for me to explain it, but like a well that is real and honest. And that's what's so cool about you, is it's not forced. And to kind of switch into a little bit about your health journey and so forth. And we've never talked about food on this show ever. We talk about communication, spirituality, so forth. But I was feeling all kinds of convicted listening to your content, because I was thinking, I eat really, well, I eat healthy compared to most people. Like my husband and I, we food prep every week. We're really, really conscious of getting in a lot of vegetables and fruits, but there's a lot of like processed stuff in there. And I was wondering, I'm like, I'm getting close to 40, and I could just tell my energy, is just different. And sometimes I feel like maybe it's burnout because I just do so much. But listening to you, I've been thinking about like, man, if you're really seeking after a higher connection with God and really bringing in more life into your content, why haven't you thought about what you're eating? Like maybe, Heather, maybe there's an opportunity for y'all to get more intentional with Like, you want to be a better creator, eat better food, which
Yeah.
seems simple, but I hadn't really thought about it until I started listening to some of your stuff. And I'm just curious, kind of your take on, we talk a lot about energy and being vibrant and connection to God in this. How much of that is connected to food?
Oh, well, you are what you eat. So,
Yeah.
you know, I've been obviously eating plant-based since 2011, and the main reason I started was, in full transparency, I was struggling with my body image issues. I looked in the mirror and I was like, gross, disgusting, ugly, fat, too skinny, everything negative, the
Yeah.
fears,
Yeah.
everything negative I was telling myself. And I didn't realize until I made the switch, I didn't realize that it was the energy of the food I was putting into me. And listen, I thought I was eating healthy too. Like, I'm gonna be real. I was eating like
Yeah.
the Pinterest kind of meal, like the grilled chicken with the broccoli, with the potato, which is
That's
fine.
us.
I'm literally out here telling y'all that's fine. But
Yeah.
for me, what I recognized, and this is just me being fully transparent, is dead energy brings dead energy. If you're feeding yourself something that was suffering, that was crying, that was bleeding, that was literally being murdered while it was being prepared, you're going to experience that energy. Like, you can, and that's
Yeah.
fine if people don't want to accept it. Is I don't care. Gabrielle don't care. But what's true is true is true is true. If something is literally
Mm.
being ripped apart and like that's how it came to be on your plate, I think whether you're thinking about it or not, your spirit knows. That's why
Yeah.
kids, so many children, if they ask, what is this? And they'll say like, oh, it's a chicken. They'll be like that. And they'll see, kids understand life is life. How did it turn into this thing that I'm now putting into my body? And to be honest, at
Mm.
the end of the day, there's so many people who eat farm raised, pasture raised, all this. And that's fine. That's great. Do what you got to do. But it doesn't change the fact that the animal was
Yeah.
literally dying and literally screaming out to God. It was screaming out to God, help me, and then dead. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. There's no animal that's out here dying in peace. There's no animal. There's no eggs that are being created. Now let me preference eggs. I do have neighbors that have eggs. I ain't got no problem with you getting your little chickens in the back, collecting your eggs. I ain't got no problem. I think honestly a lot of people should do that, to be honest, because it's a sustainable practice to feed your animal, or to feed the chickens the scraps. They produce eggs. I don't eat eggs, but hey, if you want to sell those eggs, you can make a lot of money right now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could happen. But when it comes to the actual flesh, to me, at this point, I see any flesh, animal flesh, as human flesh, and
Mm.
especially like chicken, white meat. I just see it and I'm like, whoa, like that thing literally cried out to God, the same God that's within me, the same God that was within it, the same God that's within the ginger root.
Mm.
It cried out like
Mm.
the chicken, the cow, the pig, the fish, whatever, it cried out in that moment of death. And so whether you care about the animals, I'm not a big animal activist. You don't see any activism on my platform, but the reality is those vibrations transfer into your body. And the truth of the matter
That's
is
wild.
like the amount of ridiculous amount of hormones, wheat and soy products, and genetically modified things that they are putting into these animals. Even if you eat grass raised, pasture raised, however you're trying to do it, they're still feeding these animals horrible things that are ultimately being processed and put into your body. And that's why so many women feel like trash after eating chicken. They eat grilled chicken years and years and years and years and years. And it's like, yeah, I'm skinny. Yeah, woo, woo, woo. But I still, my gut, my skin, everything,
Mm.
things are not feeling good because years and years and years of secondhand processed, that you'll start to feel it. You will start to experience it. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of women are experiencing breast cancer. A lot of men are
Infertility.
experiencing testicular cancer. All of this comes from
Mhm.
the food they're eating. There is a direct correlation. And I think at the end of the day, one thing that really, really, really revitalized my understanding is that fruit tastes beautiful and delicious and looks amazing for a reason. There's a reason that our universe evolved to create fruit. And I don't think you should just eat fruit. Listen, I eat a chickpea and a sweet potato all the time, but fruit by itself, I think, is God's greatest gift, because not only is it beautiful, we see it and we're like, oh my gosh, wow. And you see it, you could just eat it. You don't got to process it at all. No processing needed. Pick it, maybe you cut open the skin or whatever. But what's even more beautiful, it tastes delicious. It tastes like candy, the sweetest. And number 3, it heals you. Fruit is so incredibly healing. So once I tapped in to understanding the power of fruit and the fact that God created this fruit as the ultimate vessel of healing, it was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I'm on this. And then I experienced Hippocrates Wellness Institute, which is a retreat/resort/healing center that's been around for over 70 years. And people go there with all different kinds of ailments. They go there with cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. Some people can't even walk. And they feed them this absolutely wild food, which is crazy when you think about it, how different it is, but is the least processed food you will ever experience in your life. It is literally all raw sprouts. There is nothing cooked. There is no oil. There is no salt. There is nothing but raw sprouts. And they feed these people this for 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on their ailments. And it's almost like you don't want to believe it. It's almost like you don't believe it. You're like, yeah, quack science, whatever. No. These people are walking out cured. I know
That's
at
wild.
least 2. I know one man that cured his cancer in 2 weeks.
Damn.
He was given 6 months to live. He paid over $1 million for chemo treatment. Kept going to the same doctor. I was like, yeah, you're dying. Like, you're literally dying. He was like, I rebuke that. I refuse that. He's not a believer. He wasn't a believer in God at the time, but he said, no, I'm not going to do that. He went to Hippocrates. Cancer gone. Cancer was gone in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That I always knew because I've been doing it for so long, but I didn't know. I didn't know that plants were that healing, but it makes sense. Look at them. They're beautiful. Taste them. They're delicious. Pluck them. They're easy to consume. They're easy to digest. So once I saw that I met people who had been coming there for 30 plus years and who were experiencing the healing. One woman, she was like, yeah, I had diabetes when I first came here. And I walked out and I was cured. And I've never had diabetes since because of the lessons I've learned here. How to grow my own sprouts, how to juice. You don't got to go strict vegan. These people aren't strict vegans, but they have the knowledge now. They now know if I'm sick, if anything's going wrong, eat like a rabbit. Literally, I'm going to eat this handfuls, and it may not be satisfying what I need, or that hunger for steak or whatever, or fish or whatever. May not. But you know what it's satisfying? Your life expectancy. It's satisfying the fact that you can live. You might be able to live till 90 to 100 without pain, without cancer. These are all possibilities. And this is something I've recently discovered. I didn't know that this place had been around for 70 years. I didn't know. I'm over here just on my own journey of healing. I'm healing my husband. I'm healing my family members. And then I think what really struck me was that I went vegan and back in 2011, and my family watched me through this experience, and they were supportive later on, but at first they were very much like, that's just a fad. It's an eating disorder. You're crazy, right? Because this is before people realized, I guess, that it was just an act of kindness to myself and to God. And so they thought I was crazy. Like, oh, you're not going to last. You're getting pale. Also, I'm half Black, so how's that working out? But you're getting pale. You look sunken. You look too skinny. They tried to feed me with all the fear. And I'm back. I'm here 13 years later, and I'm popping. I feel like I look younger. My skin, my muscles, like everything is great. My gut, everything feels good.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, and this is unfortunate, it's just the truth. My dad does have diabetes and cancer now, and he followed a strict carnivore diet. He ate meat and cheese and eggs, and occasionally bread, but meat, cheese, and eggs. And now he literally, he's suffering. He's suffering now. And it's hard because he knows what he needs to do. He saw the journey of my journey, and I I instilled in them. I was just making the celery juice, drink this, drink this, drink this. And it's crazy because as soon as I moved out of living with my parents, I was living with them during COVID times and kind of helping them with the health. Because my mom was struggling too with internal bleeding and whatnot. And as soon, I mean, they weren't struggling. They weren't struggling. They were enjoying the juice. They saw the benefits. And then it's unfortunate because as soon as I left, my father was diagnosed with cancer and diabetes. And he ultimately had to have parts of his body removed. And so it's like I'm experiencing the truth. And now I'm seeing the truth. And once you see the truth, you can't close your eyes anymore. You can't become ignorant again. So now that I know, and I've seen my father's journey, I've seen my journey, I've seen my friend Joseph's journey who cured his cancer. And now I'm experiencing other people who've cured their ailments, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, migraines, eczema, acne, people who are just curing themselves. And mind you, they're not eating Beyond Meat every day. They're not eating So Delicious ice cream. They're not eating, all these crazy nuggets. They're eating healthy, unprocessed, raw foods to cure them. Now they treating themselves too. Okay, they eating a fried mushroom. You know what I'm saying? They eating good. They eating seasoned. They eating flavorful. But at the end of the day, it comes down to eating the rainbow because the universe, God, everything has evolved for these beautiful things that our eyes are naturally attracted to, right? Imagine walking into a garden and there's every fruit and vegetable, herb and seed and nut of plenty. Like you feel alive. You know what I'm saying? You see that. If you just put yourself in that position, you see like, wow, the colors, the textures, the flavors, the smells. And then I like to also imagine myself in a meat factory. And I imagine the flesh hanging around me and it rotting and decaying and the pus and the boils and the slaughter. And I picture how I feel. And I think that, and I don't feel good. And I don't think most people would feel good, to be honest. And I'm just being honest. If we put ourselves in this situation and we put our mindset in this situation, ask yourself, where do you feel safe? Where do you feel comfortable? Where do you feel healthy? Where do you feel connected to source? I think most people are going to say they feel good in the garden. They feel safe. They don't feel like they might become part of the meat, but if you picture yourself surrounded by flesh, I mean, just this is what these animals are: cut up pigs, open cows, open hearts, brains. Just imagine the flesh surrounding you. It's bloody. It's raw. It looks human, but it's not. It's animals. And so if you put yourself there, you see how you feel, put yourself back in the plants, in the Garden of Eden, and see how you feel. It's crazy. Once you do that, that starts getting you to think a little different, and it's not something you need to switch. I never tell people to go vegan. I never tell people because it's not for Gabrielle to tell you what to do. It's for you to connect to God and listen to God and say, hey, do I feel good? Because some people eat vegan and they're like, I don't feel good. I didn't do it right. I need protein. Well, that's where Gabrielle comes in and I help you out and we talk about it and we plan it out because I've been doing this so long and I'm a professional at this point. But you got to listen to how your soul feels, right? Because you are what you eat. Are you decaying flesh? Are you pus? Are you a chicken's period? Are you rotting flesh? Or are you fruitful? Are you sweet? Are you green? Are you growing? Are you, plentiful? And that's just how I think about it. I know that was a lot of information, but that's kind of like where I stand on it. It's a mindset and it's like really just discovering what's really healing people versus what is easy and what's convenient.
I love that no matter what we talked about in this time together, it's just always come back to connecting with God and connecting with source. And that's really the thing underneath the thing. We think it's an algorithm. We think it's, a tip or a trick or a little hack we need to learn or a new degree or whatever. and all that stuff's great. But at the end of the day, it's like when you can be really, really connected and tuned in, whether it's through the food you eat, the people that you surround yourself with, the words that you're speaking, the music that you're listening to, whatever. Are we tapped into life source or not? And I think if we get still, we know. We know. And
Yeah.
I appreciate the hell out of you. You are so beautiful and kind and fun. I just ordered your cookbook and I'm so excited because my daughter is like a little mini chef. And
Oh,
I'm excited to teach her some of this stuff and walk through the cookbook with her. I know she'll enjoy it. But
joy.
I'll make sure that is linked up in the show notes as long on your social media and so forth. Is there anything particular that you're really excited about you want to direct our listeners to?
Yeah, I mean, the cookbook is awesome. I love it because it has QR codes in it that go to the recipes. You can find songs, and different tips and tricks. Oh, in fact, look who brought it out.
Look, there
Of
you
course, my
go.
husband. He eavesdropping in the back. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Like you can kind of see there's QR codes. There's all different kinds
That's
of
cool.
recipes. If you need decadence, if you need raw, if you need, simple, if you want something complicated, there's all different kinds. And then I would say our music. We have 2 albums
Mm.
out. If you just search Gabrielle Reyes on any platform, on Apple, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, there's a lot of really, really good music on there. I'm just kind of always want people to hear the abundance, hear about the gratitude. And, I just want people to hear the music and understand that God got them. Like, God got
Mm.
you, fam. Like, you good. You're
Mhm.
breathing. You're here. You're present. And
Mm.
God got you. So, yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. All that be linked in the show notes. Very last question. What is something in your life right now that you're questioning, but you do not have the answer to? And it could be something super deep. It could be something super small, but what's been on your mind lately that you have a big question mark around?
I love that you asked me that because I I think I want to be an investigator, like a criminal investigator in
Oh my
my
God.
second life. I know, right? I'm very fascinated by true crime, but I think I'd be an incredible like interrogation, police officer, interrogation detective. And so that's what I'm questioning. I'm like, what are the steps to that? How do I go about doing that? Do I need to go back to college? What does that look like? I want to
Wow.
do it. Yeah, random, right? But I think I'd be really good at it. And I think I could like also give glory to God through that. And I think I have like a really tough, like I've experienced stuff. So I'm like, I can handle it, but also like I can bring my little sweetness. I don't know. I have some thoughts about it, but that's
Do you
kind of
have
where I'm
strong
at with that.
intuition? Like, do you
Yeah.
feel like when you're with people, you can like read them and stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to study it. Like there's an art form to interrogation. There's an art form to becoming a detective. And I think it's really cool. Like I just think it's kind of cool that you get to like talk to these people and like unearth these lies, these that they're just trying to keep deep, so
Mm.
deep, but it's like you can crack them and how you gonna crack. Oh, I just think it's so cool. I think it's
You
so
would be like the
fascinating.
most life-giving investigator ever.
Yeah,
Like people would not
right?
just confess themselves, they would also get their shit together and have their life changed.
Listen, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to be like, it's all good. Listen, fam, we gonna figure it out. Just tell the truth.
That's it. Gabrielle, thank you for your time today. This was incredible.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate like your flow and just like how fun you made this whole experience.